Hello there, it's Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astro-Numerologist. Welcome to Star Codes, the forecast where we look at an upcoming event in the stars and numbers, the astrology and numerology. This forecast is for all signs, and today we are looking at the first full moon of 2025. In fact, it's the first lunation of 2025, and it happens to be the Cancer full moon. Cancer is such a beautiful sign because it governs home and family and love. And it is love of family. It is the nurturing of everything that is sweet. Cancer is ruled by the moon, so Cancer actually governs all of our lunations, full moons and new moons. But in this case, it literally is the sign that the full moon takes place in. So the moon will be at 24 degrees in Cancer. 24 is the number in numerology that reduces to 6. 24, 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 is nurturing, love, family. So it is the equivalent of what Cancer represents. So it's going to be a very family-oriented, loving home, real estate, environment-based, beauty, nurturing full moon because of the numerology code and the astrology code really syncing up in a wonderful way. So the sun will be at 24 degrees in Capricorn, and both sun and moon are creating conjunctions. So the moon will be conjunct Mars. Mars will be at 27 degrees in Cancer, and the sun is conjunct Pluto. Pluto will be at 1 degrees in Aquarius. So it's an out of sign conjunction, but there's still this connection between the two because they're close enough. So that means it's going to be very intense as well. Full moons are very emotional. They touch us. They are completion oriented. They bring everything to a head. And so because Cancer is a water sign and Pluto rules Scorpio, another water sign, we have incredible opportunities here to release. And Mars will help us to move into a new direction. Mars is conjunct the moon. Mars, of course, rules Aries, and Mars is incredibly courageous. Mars goes for it. Mars loves the idea of doing something for the first time and not necessarily taking direction, but being unique and instinctual. And Mars can be brash, Mars can be very aggressive, but because Mars is retrograde, those qualities are somewhat dampened, and it allows the side of Mars that is courageous and more perceptive and more patient, actually, to shine through. So the moon comes home to its own sign for a full moon once a year. And it's a wonderful opportunity to go for those instinctual gut feelings that Mars also represents in a more courageous way. So we have this very private internal sign of Cancer merging with Mars, which is not private, is definitely just go for it, fearless. And so our internal frame of reference is going to be invigorated. So the kindness and nurturing that Cancer represents, the empathy, even the feeling of being somewhat vulnerable, hiding in the shell, which is the shadow side of Cancer, is to run away, to hide. Those will be addressed in a quicker and, in a way, more action-oriented way, which is a good thing. Because sometimes Cancer can only go into feelings, and of course the full moon does that naturally. So your feelings will be heightened, your moods will be, in a sense, changeable with this full moon in Cancer. There will be a heart-centered awareness, there will be a tenderness, and it is also blended with this sense of, well, I can get through this. I want to begin something that feels actually very good and nurturing, but also is a new thing that I haven't tried. I'm going to go for it. Now, Cancer represents safety. And of course, the sun is in Capricorn, which is the sign of security. So there's a sense of feeling safe, belonging, and there's a sense of protection and security that also really shines through. Now, There's always a shadow side, of course. And in this case, if you feel clingy or insecure or possessive because you want to be in control, or too cautious or afraid because you might be rejected or misunderstood, or if you are lacking in clarity, not having a plan, because the sun is in Capricorn, and Capricorn thrives when there is a plan of action, a map, the strategy, then this is a time to really heed the calls of Mars and also Pluto. They're co-rulers of Scorpio, to step up and take the reins and not dig your head in the sand, and focus on not running away from things, but nurturing yourself in a way that you feel strong. So the mother is represented by Cancer. So you want to love and care not only for others, but feel loved and cared for in return. And so there's a beautiful moment here where you can tune into that sweetness and yet have the courage and confidence to also move forward. Now, this happens on the 13th of January at 10:27 p.m. Universal Time. That's 5:27 p.m. Eastern, New York, and 2:27 p.m. Pacific Time, LA. And so this is a very important day because of the number 13, which represents the divine feminine. We have 13 lunations in a year. We have 13 weeks in a season. We have 13 Venus phases. So 13 is connected to the change of seasons, transformation, life, death, rebirth, and is part of the divine feminine code. And so with Mars conjunct the moon being also connected to the mother, we have a very nice balance here between the feminine and masculine energies. And so there is and the moon is about balancing too. It's an opposition. So there is a really lovely opportunity to bring the left and right brain, the creativity versus action, into balance at this time. Now, in addition to the moon being conjunct Mars retrograde, the moon is sextile Uranus, the sun is trine Uranus, and that means you may get a lot of opportunities to branch out, to follow your intuition, and do something that is unusual. So you're more open and you are excited to move forward. Uranus represents the future. Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. Pluto just moved into Aquarius after almost 250 years. So this is a very important time to set yourself free, to feel free to explore. And then the moon is trine to Neptune, and that means the sun is sextile Neptune. There's a beautiful triangle as well, and that's very sweet energy. It's very psychic energy, very intuitive energy in terms of dreams and fantasies and creativity and beauty, music, and allowing your vivid dreams to be heard and taking your imagination to another level, right? So that it can explore. And, it's like you're gazing at something and you're gazing a bit longer. You're allowing yourself to really feel the energy. The sun and moon are creating a T-square to Chiron, and that actually heals through love, but there's tension there as well. So if you need to pay attention to any unresolved issues with people, engage in conversations that allow you to breathe and tune into love, tune into compassion. And this connects also to the Cancer theme as well, which is a sign of compassion and nurturing. So it's a great time to understand the value of any kind of therapy in your life, and also to dive into physical therapy. Mars is conjunct the moon after all. Mars is very, very physical, and Mars likes physical exercise. So any kind of therapy that is hands-on, that allows you to feel connected and loved, is very beneficial at this time. And then we also have Venus conjunct Saturn, and this is a very beautiful transit that's happening in Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces, feeling like there is love in the air that can be lasting. And so you want to be with people who meet your needs, your emotional needs, and are not judgmental. So you have to also refrain from judging how you might feel about something and give your imagination a place to breathe, but also give your imagination a structured platform, because this is also very creative energy. You don't want to suppress your creativity. And so this is it's a wonderful time to take love and beauty seriously in general. And what helps with that is Venus squares Jupiter. Now, these are the two benefics, and the benefics bring lots of blessings. And so a square is action. So you're very open to new emotional experiences here. You're feeling more happy, more optimistic. It's a wonderful transit also for friendships. Just guard against being extravagant with the square or negligent. You only want to focus on harmonizing your life, bringing those feelings and people and visuals into your environment that are beautifying. So it truly is a coming home to yourself moment here. It's also wonderful for real estate, for family, for healing. Cancer is very connected to all of those. It's also connected to new beginnings in those areas because of the Mars conjunct Saturn aspect. So you can actively seek out more harmony in all of these areas, whether it's your family or your home environment as well, which means you may feel an urge to move, maybe to a brand new area of the world or the country or within your neighborhood. And so it's a wonderful time when we have a Cancer-related lunation to look at where you live and notice where you feel better, where you travel. It's not just fortunate places to move to and settle in, but it's also places that you might consider traveling and exploring. So I have a wonderful free masterclass for you called Astrocartography, The Power of Fortunate Places. You can watch it at positivelocations.com. It's totally free, and it goes into so much of astrocartography that you may not be aware of. In fact, we cover one common mistake that many people make when they go to places like astro.com and look up their lines, and they don't realize that they're missing some really important lines that are not understood, that are really going to make and break a certain area. It's not just about your Venus line, Sun line, or Jupiter line. In other words, there are many other lines to look at. So we're going to also cover the 5 critical components that make up your astrocartography profile. And we're going to do that through celebrity examples, of which I give a lot. So enjoy that free class on astrocartography at positivelocations.com, and have a beautiful Cancer full moon. And I will see you in next week's Star Codes podcast. Lots of love.